My parents noticed certain things when I was younger. It was kind of like he couldn't sit up, he couldn't hold a bottle. At 12 months, he wasn't, showing any signs of walking, any of this. And they kind of looked around for a diagnosis. I had a CT scan, and the provider who was reading the scan afterwards, the kind of verbatim quote that I'll never forget is, "Not much active brain." And my mom was kind of politely encouraged to go home and mind her other kids.
Tommy was born in 1994. His diagnosis came in 1995. This is in the pre-internet days, where you didn't, Google didn't exist. Tommy is our third child. Cerebral palsy had never entered into our world. I didn't know anyone with it, so my knowledge of it was very limited. I heard about Gillette because a physical therapist who worked in our community had read Dr. Gage's 1991 book, and she said, "You have to read this book." Now, Dr. Gage's book was written for orthopaedic surgeons. I'm a mother, right? But I devoured that book with a medical dictionary beside me, and it really was my first real education in what spastic diplegia meant. We came to Gillette first in 2003 for an appointment with Dr. Gage because orthopaedic surgery has been recommended for Tommy.
My kind of abiding memory of that surgery is kind of without exception, kind of everyone that I dealt with, from the surgeons, the nurses, to kind of everyone in between, they really just spent a lot of time making sure that you felt comfortable.
What's unique about the care at Gillette is that a few things. Number one, Gillette specialises in the treatment of CP. About 70% of the people who come through its doors have cerebral palsy. Secondly, that the care is multidisciplinary. Everybody talks about multidisciplinary care. What does that actually mean? It's like a sports team with 11 players. The 11 players, they're not individuals, they're 11 members of a team. And Gillette really practices multidisciplinary care. A third point I would say is that the treatments are evidence-based, and there's been a number of both short-term and long-term studies evaluating outcome at Gillette.
So my mother's book is super interesting because obviously it's the culmination of all the research that she's been doing, and it's kind of nice to imagine having a child and getting that diagnosis, getting the diagnosis of spastic diplegia, and this idea that you only need one book. Like, here is a book that will tell you what you need to know.
This book is really two stories intertwined. It's a very detailed, technical story of the condition, but intertwined around that is a personal story. It's anecdotes from our experience of our son growing up with this condition.
She's written something down the middle that is between memoir on one side and medical textbook on the other, in the sense that she's written something that's accessible, that is also medically sound, medically backed up with strong information.
Why I worked with Gillette on this book, well, that's kind of a no-brainer in the sense that we've been coming to Gillette for over 15 years. And like, Tommy's had 4 procedures over the years here. I have such admiration for the work that Gillette do, in the whole area of treatment, in the area of research, in the area of having, the child, the family are at the centre of their care. The child, the adolescent and the adult are treated with such respect, with such care. There was just nowhere else I would go. To me, it's very much a partnership of families and professionals working together. What's in this book is it shows the evidence-based best practice treatments as of today, but also it shows the importance of what we can do to help ourselves. What are my hopes for Tommy and his future? My hopes for Tommy are the same as for my other sons. I expect him to lead a full life, to live life to the fullest, to contribute to society. Okay, he has a disability that is an extra challenge in life, but I have the exact same expectations of him as I have for any of my boys.
There's kind of nothing that I would love more than in, 20 years, someone has this like super dog-eared version of the book from like thumbing through it so many times and like different parts are highlighted. And that's what success looks like for me, is someone in 20 years like showing me their copy of the book that their parent had. Books are loved. And I would love for this one to find a home.